Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video today we are going to discuss what are the different types of policies that exist in AWS. So in our previous video we discussed about IAM users, IAM groups, how we can attach permissions to IAM users, okay? But in this video we are going to go little deeper into what are the different types of policies that we can attach to these identities called IAM users or groups. And in my previous video we already saw the how we can attach permissions to IAM users, but we didn't go that deep into what are the different types of policies that exist. So in this video we are going to do exactly that, and this video is going to be part of my bigger AWS Mastery playlist. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to it and hit the bell icon. Thank you. So let's get started real quick. So for this demo, I am going to log into my root user email. So I will enter my root user email here. Then I'll enter my password. The MFA will kick in, so I will just enter my MFA code here. Okay, and I'm in. So once I'm into the console, I just want you to look into the IAM service here. So I'll go inside the IAM service, and over here I'll go back to the users part. So in my previous video I showed you how we created this IAM user. So I'm just going to click on this user right now, and you will see that I have an option to add permissions for my user, right? So over here, if I click on that, okay, you will see there are two options. Either I can add permissions from here, or I can create an inline policy. Let's understand the difference between the two first. So when I click on add permissions here, okay, so it asks me to attach the policies directly for this user, right? And these policies, which are about 1300 in count, right, these are known as something known as AWS managed policies. So these are the policy documents which AWS has already created for us, and the AWS only manages them as well, right? So say for example there is a policy named IAM read only access. Okay, this is not showing up because we have already attached this policy for the user. But say for example there is an EC2, Amazon EC2 full access, right? So this is a policy that Amazon has already created for us, which basically shows you that it has a star like a wild card against each of these actions, so that it literally allows in everything under the AWS EC2 service. So this policy document was already created by AWS for us, hence it's an AWS managed policies. Now I want you to think of it in a way that, say for example in future there is a new action or API that comes in to for EC2, right? So AWS will make sure that they modify this particular policy document to even account for that action as well, right? So AWS will do it on behalf of us. If you have already using this policy for your identity like IAM users or IAM groups, then you are safe, because AWS is going to manage it behind the scenes, and they are going to modify this policy to make sure that your application is can literally use that functionality as well without you doing anything, right? So this is the power of a managed policy where AWS is doing everything for us. Okay, then there is something called as an inline policy. Okay, so in case of an inline policy, what we do is we create a policy and we attach that directly to the identity which is in question. So right now we are doing it for IAM user 1, so we can create a custom policy for this user, and this policy will be attached exclusively for this particular user. Okay, so in case we delete this user, the policy will as well delete. Okay, now these custom policies, custom inline policies to be accurate. Okay, these are done in very rare scenarios wherein you want to provide a particular user a very exclusive permission, okay, or some unique privileges which you don't want to provide to multiple users or groups, right? Because for that I already showed you there is a concept of IAM groups wherein you want to give multiple IAM users a similar sort of permissions, right? So that's the reason of using these inline policies. Okay, generally they are discouraged because of the reason I was telling to you before, that say for example Amazon comes up with a change in one of their APIs, and that change will then not automatically cascade for your policy because you have created that policy yourself. AWS is not going to manage it for you, and you have to change that policy in case you want to give that user the permission which they have recently added, right? So these inline policies, okay, can be created from here. Okay, and policy, as I told you, is just nothing but a JSON document. So I can go ahead and create an inline policy for my user. So I can just use a visual editor like this, or I can even use the JSON builders wherein I can write in the actions or resources myself. Okay, but for the time being I'll just use this visual editor here. So say for example I want to create an inline policy wherein I want to give all the read permissions related to the EC2 service. Okay, and I want to provide it for all the resources. Okay, so a wildcard entry here, and I can just go ahead and press next here. Okay, and after that I can give a name for my policy. So I can just say custom inline policy. And this will create the policy for us. And I want you to see here one interesting thing. So for our IAM user, okay, you can see that these are the 4 permission policies attached to it. And you can see the first permission policy is inherited by the group HR group. So the user is part of HR group. Okay, then the IAM read-only access policy is attached directly. So we did it when we were creating this user. Okay, and then there are these 2 inline policies. So this inline policy we just created related to the EC2 service, which you can see here. Okay, and now when we delete our user, right, so this policy also gets deleted. Okay, this does not exist because it is attached directly to this user, IAM user 1, and it has no existence outside it. It has a one-to-one relationship with the identity. Okay, unlike the AWS managed policies like AWS S3 full access, which we got from AWS. Okay, because these kind of policies can be attached to multiple users, multiple groups, and in future you will learn about roles as well. So they can be attached to multiple roles as well, right? So this is the AWS managed policy, and the one that I showed you is a custom inline policy, right? Now there is one more type of policy which is customer managed policies, right? So for that what you just need to do is go to this policies section here in IAM. I will move my image here. Okay, and over here you have an option to create a policy yourself, right? So you can go ahead and create a policy yourself. So say for example I will again do it for Lambda service. Okay, and I will again give permissions for list actions here and do it for all resources. And over here I'll press next, and I can give a name for my policy. So I can say custom managed policy for Lambda, right? And I can even provide a short brief description here, and after that I can just create this policy, right? So if you now search for this policy here, if you just refresh the screen and search for this policy here, custom. So you can see that against its type, it's telling you customer managed policy. So the difference is that I created this policy, myself. Okay, and I can choose a multiple services here. So unlike these AWS created managed policies, wherein these policies are basically, when they are talking about these policies, they are generally related to a particular service, like a Amazon RDS read only access, Amazon RDS full access, right? But say for example, you have a scenario wherein you want to create a single policy document which provides access to these multiple services, right, in one go. So you can do that by creating a customer managed policy, and the advantage is this policy can be attached to multiple users, multiple groups or roles, just like a AWS managed policy. Okay, so this is in stark contrast with the inline policy, which has a one-to-one relationship with the identity, and you can't attach it to the other users or other groups or other roles, right? So this is customer managed, but obviously it has a downside to it, which you would have understood already, that unlike these AWS managed services, where AWS takes the heavy load of changing them in case there is a change in API or action. Okay, in case of customer managed policies, you have to do it yourself, right? Because you created this policy and you are managing it, right? So that's the only downside. Otherwise, it's very similar to what AWS managed policies, and in fact, in some ways, it's better because say for example, you are creating a permission policy for a group, right? For HR group, say for example, and you want to just add multiple services and things together in a single policy document, and it just removes the clutter, and you can just keep on you can just attach it to the group, and anyone who is then coming to the group will inherit that policy document, right? So that's an advantage, okay, that you can club multiple things here. And so guys, in today's video, as you can see, we saw about 3 different types of policies. So first one was AWS managed policies, then we looked upon the inline policies, and finally we looked into the customer managed policies, right? So these are the 3 different types of policies that I wanted you guys to know before moving on to the next video. So I hope you would have liked today's video. In case you have liked it, do press the like button and share this video to as many people as possible. Okay, that keeps my motivation going. And thank you very much for watching this video today.